what I had talked about before, which is that the reality is that the whole thing is nothing but thoughts. See? And to punctuate that, consider the following fact. This is also pramana. This is your own proof. Examine your own life. So the whole teaching in these 2 days and all the rest of them should be aparoksha jnanam. See for yourself how this is happening to you. What is not happening to you. So look at this. Do you know that if it weren't for the fact that everything is thoughts, you could not switch from a waking state to a dream state? Just think about it. Just imagine. So just look at that. If things were really solid, if you were a solid object, will you be able to completely get rid of it? And you do. You don't argue that I don't completely get rid of it. You come back to it. This is why, this is the most amazing thing. This is why no matter how hurt you are, how your body pain is, and also what your punya papa is, whether you are a dharmatma or you are a mahapapi, you have just killed 25 children in a class, shooting them, or you are a dharmatma. When you dream, all of that is negated. When you sleep, of course, all of that is negated, obviously. The sleep of a dharmatma and the sleep of a mahapapi is exactly the same. Amazing. But even in a dream, I'm talking about, forget about the deep sleep, switching from a waking to a dream and vice versa is not possible if the solidity of your reality will persist. Thoughts, of course, I can understand, because that happens exactly in our life. You're thinking of one thing, you're worried, whatever you're thinking of, some family members or something. And the next thing you know, now you're thinking of something else. So that one, switching from one sukshma avastha to another sukshma avastha is very natural to us. We do that every day. But the sukshma avastha of your entire creation, this is what is called vasana. We never got into that subject very well. And I remember Swami Chinmanand I was not even close to him, because I was just not close to understanding that, because I was just taking quick notes. It's the first time. But he used to talk about vasanas, and I never really understood that. But now I do. And vasana is nothing but the realm of thoughts. Our whole life is nothing but vasanas. Nothing. And this is the reason, that's all I wanted to do, that punctuation I wanted to do was consider the very wise conclusion, reasonable conclusion, that if it weren't for the fact you could never switch from a Jagrat Avastha to a dream avastha. Never. But you can do that through thoughts. So So that is an additional confirmation of what Vedanta says, that my goodness, I'm sorry I told you all about Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira and so on. That's all kindergarten stuff. The fact is there is nothing but vasanas alone. Vasanas from your previous life. This is who you are. This needs to be explained more, and we need more time, so we'll have to find something else to talk about. Anyway, that's from the past. Now, there are 4 things that I need to do in the next hour or less. So, the 4 things are, I'll just give you an outline. So, the first thing is, I don't know what sequence. Yeah, let me do this. The first topic is the topic of Upadhi and Adish and Abhimana. Upadhi and Abhimana. So, the English, there is no good English word for Upadhi. Like there is, it's interesting. Swami Dayanand used to say, the only English word for mithya is mitya. There is no direct translation of mithya. Illusion is not. It's not illusion. Okay, so golden ornaments are not an illusion, but they are mithya. There is no English word. This is another reason why it has to go to Sanskrit. Okay. So similarly, Upadhi doesn't really have a direct English translation, but I'll just do it. It's called conditioning agent. You can say that. Conditioning agent. And I'll discuss that, what Upadhi is. I'm just giving you the English translation. Abhimana has a very good English translation, which is called identification. That's a good translation for Abhimana. So this one topic, the first topic, is the importance of understanding the working of Upadhi and Adish and Abhimana in our lives. Okay? Let's take Upadhi. What is Upadhi? Upadhi means something that being close to the seer makes the scene appear differently. A very simple example, dark glasses. A beautiful example of colored glasses. Colored glasses. Supposing you're wearing some green colored glasses, wouldn't the whole scene appear green to you? I have such a funny incident that I can tell you, which is real, about dark glasses. This was a year and a half or 2 years after we were married. We were married in December 66. Sometime in late 67. My younger brother was a student at University of Washington in Seattle. And so we drove to him at that time. There were no, you cannot get into Pan Am for less than $1,000 or something like that. So we just drove. So as we were driving, I remember this so well. We did it in one day. From San Francisco to San Jose, actually. From San Jose to Seattle in one day, 14 hours or something like that. On the way, we reach, maybe not in one day, maybe we stayed at Portland, I don't remember. So we reached Portland, around dusk time, about 6 or 7 o'clock. And I'm driving. Now I'm remarking to Pammi. I said, Pammi, why don't they have the street lights brighter than they have here? They're so dim. I don't understand that, because I'm driving. So she says, I don't, but they look okay to me. And I'm complaining. No, this whole Portland town, they're saving on the electricity. I'm wearing my dark glasses. And I tell you, it was not apparent until I reached the hotel or whatever we were staying. I think we were staying. And I took them off. How foolish I felt. It's just amazing. This is what Upadhi does. So, we tend to look at life through Upadhis. Our life is seeing through various Upadhis, colored glasses. Sometimes the Upadhi is the Sthula Sharira. Like if you want to lose weight, then you look at the world differently. If you want to gain weight, you look at world differently. Your mind is an Upadhi, very important Upadhi. If you are unhappy, you look at things differently. If you are happy, you look completely different. Upadhi. And Ishvara has made such an amazing assortment of Upadhis for you to look at. And the interesting thing is, you don't have to look through the Upadhis that he's given you. But in case you don't understand what the drishti is without the Upadhi, which is the very fact that we are born means that you are endowed with Upadhis. It is a colored. So in that sense, really, it is a subjective reality. There is an objectivity to it. This is what is called Ishvara Shrishti. Ishvara Shrishti means that there is an earth, there is a sun, that everybody shares, and you don't have to have an Upadhi for that. But the way you interpret the world, this is a good world, or this is something I cannot deal with, all those kinds are your subjective Upadhis. This is the role of Upadhi. Okay? Closely associated with that is what is called Abhimana. Abhimana. So it's interesting, they are both related, but Abhimana also includes your self-assessment. It isn't just what you are seeing, but what the conclusion of that seeing is about yourself. That is what Abhimana would mean. Okay? So, a good example of that would be, you go and see a movie, a good movie. A good movie is one where very quickly you lose your own personality before you enter into it. Like for example, this is what happens once. Now I don't do that. Pammi is very complaining and she's finally accepted it. Because for a number of years, when we were growing up, she will go and go to some movies and so on. Slowly I said, I don't want to spend 2 hours just watching this movie. The whole world is just a movie to me. But she doesn't agree with me. She says, no, everybody thinks this is a very good movie, very good movie. Finally, she has accepted it. And if I want to go see a movie, then she comes with it. And she's also given up. So in the last 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, I've only seen 2 movies. One is Oppenheimer, which was a complete mistake. I wish I had not gone to it. It was a complete, boring 2 hours of nonsense. But because I was in Berkeley and I was associated with, the bomb and the Oppenheimers and so on, I was in 64, I thought it'd be fun to sort of relive it. Complete mistake. Gone. The second one is Article 370, about Amit Shah and conspiring to remove the Article 370 from Kashmir, because I was very close to that, I knew. So I wanted to see how it was done. That was interesting. I saw that, that's it. Those are the only 2 ones that we have seen. I have not seen anything else in the last 6, 7 years. Not even at home. We don't have Netflix. So a good movie, as in the case of that didn't happen to me in Oppenheimer, but in Article 370, I got involved with it. As they were signs showing how the Kashmiri Pandits were driven out and the background was given, I became identified with it. I became one of the people that could tell the inequities that were done, how the local people, and all of that, all of that. So the Abhimana, so in a way you can say that watching the movie was an upadhi. Because my friend, we went to see it at somebody's home, beautiful theater that they have made. And so that was the upadhi, setting it up, and our friend turning it on, and there were just the 4 of us, that couple and us. Very enjoyable. So that was the upadhi. But my feelings about myself was the abhimana. Because I became synonymous with Modi ji and Amit Shah and this one girl who was very instrumental in making that happen. She became almost like a spy, and it was very interesting. And whether I was happy or not happy was all based on it. This is called abhimana. Okay? So now, we have 2 things, upadhi and abhimana. Our life is full of upadhis and abhimanas. There is nothing else. We flit from being just now as a waker, student, teacher. This is one upadhi, one abhimana. And what is the characteristic of both of them? Just think about that. Upadhi and abhimana. It is that it is temporary. So this is what is meant by the singular statement of Vedanta. Adhyaropa apavada. Adhyaropa means a covering, a abhimana, upadhi. And apavada means the removal of that. Adhyaropa apavada bhyam nishprapancha prapanchate. That the Vedanta Shastra describes your life. Look at it. It is nothing but a series of abhimanas and removal of abhimana, change of abhimana. But here's what we do. We're not aware of this being an abhimana. Why? Because as a waker, we are identified with the upadhi of waking. And then we swiftly shift over to the abhimana of a dreamer. Then we switch over to the abhimana as a sleeper. Come back again into the abhimana of a waker. This is how life is, the whole thing goes. And Ishvara says, hello. The whole thing is a dream. You're just identified with it. Do you get it? And we'll say, no, I don't get it. No, I don't have the time. Let me just lead my life the way I'm doing. This is our situation. We don't need. So then the question becomes, who am I without the abhimana? Who am I without the upadhi? And then you can spoil it by pretending. This is exactly what happens. There is a verse that says in Gita, akarmani karmana yat pashyet, karmaka yat pashyet, karma akarmani yat pashyet, mudha. Because Arjuna also says, I don't want to fight, I just want to sit there together. This is also a karma. This is not lack of karma. So you cannot just give it up and say, I don't have abhimana for it and so on. How do I become lack of, who is the turiya? So we are actually going through this in the class on Saturday, on the Karika, very beautiful explanation. So our understanding is, this is the introduction to the word turiya, which is the fourth one. Okay? So you are not the Jagrata Avastha. You are not in the Jagrata Avastha, you are not in the dream Avastha, not in the Sushupti Avastha, but you are in the Jagrata Avastha, Swapna Avastha. So you are turiya. This is an important thing that was pointed out. We talked about it in more detail. Our feeling is that the fourth state that is talked about is some other experience. Because you are telling me that it is the Jagrata Avastha is a identification, it's an abhimana. Okay, I get it. Then the Swapna Avastha is also abhimana and all that, I get it. So then you're saying, no, you are none of those, you are the fourth one. That's the one I want. Because you've already told me that the turiya is the avastha where you're very happy. You don't have any problems with life, you don't have any issues and so on and so forth, there is nothing to interrupt it. That is the one I want. How do I get it? So is it the fourth state? This is the whole discussion. First you said, this is what happens. Until you create a doubt, you cannot remove it. Because it sees, what is it? I think there's a medical truth to it. That first you make the disease a little worse, so that you can see it. What are the symptoms and so on, then you treat it. If it is at the subconscious level, then you cannot do that. So here we say, you first try to have a doubt, I want the fourth state, turiya. Turiya Sanskrit means the fourth. So you look upon it as a fourth state. This is abused by all people that should not be in that state. They'll say, this is exactly what happens in the modern meditation craze. I'm sorry to say that. It sounds good and it is good for a while, but it means I want to show you the number of classes on meditation. In the last 50, 60 years, we never even heard of meditation in the West, ever since I came to this country. Nowadays, my God, every other school is either yoga or meditation. So meditation means this is kind of like a fourth state. Okay? So, now let me tell you. Did you enjoy that? Oh, that was wonderful. Please sign up for the next class. That's only $50. So you are very anxious. In fact, you tell your spouse, hey, that was a very good experience. I really enjoyed it. I was so calm and everything. You should come to it too. You need it more than I do. So this is what happens. Meditation has become, it's like a fourth state. So the explanation in the Mandukya is, I'm very sorry to tell you, it is not a fourth state. It is a fourth way of looking at yourself in the first three states. Totally different. So first you are very disappointed. Really? I was telling the class people that there was a Christian minister that had been led to me, and she wanted to hear about the Turiya. And when I explained to her, she was very disappointed. Is that all it is? So the Turiya is not a fourth state. It is an understanding that the three states are nothing but Upadhi and Abhimana. You don't need a fourth state to understand that. In fact, it says that you can only understand in the Jagrata Avastha. So this moksha is not possible after death. It is not possible when you are sleeping. It's not possible when you are dreaming. There's only one thing left. Right here and now, when you are in your senses, hopefully you've not had any alcohol or drugs, which is not a funny thing, because you cannot believe how many social events I've gone to where people have had 2 or 3 drinks and then they are trying to understand the reality of God, and they all talk to me about it also. You are a Vedanta teacher, aren't you? Tell me about this. So I should really tell them, can you become sober first? And even after that, I don't think I'll talk to you. No, I won't say that, but so you have to be sober to understand it. So what it means is, please say, this is what Adhyaropa Abhavadabhyam means. See that this is an upadhi, and see that you are the very Sat which doesn't need an upadhi. Here Swami Akhandananda made a very beautiful thing. He said, just look at this. To see something else, what do you need? Supposing you want to see, a thing, so many things. Supposing you want to see a murti in a temple. Okay. So imagine all the factors that are necessary for you to be successfully seeing this murti in a temple, Vigraha, Ganesha temple. What do you need to see? You need to see light. You need light, not see. You need light. So this is what is called Adi Daivam. You need light. You cannot see in complete darkness. Even if you have a flashlight, that is nothing but the battery, which is an offshoot of sun. So you'd see it needs the sun. Okay, number 1. You need eyes. You need eyes. First of all, you need to have a form which is called Adi Bhautikam, Adi Bhutaha. Janya, born from all the Pancha Mahabhutas. Okay, that's done. Then you need Adi Daivam, light. Third one you need is something internal, which is your eyes. It's called Adhyatmikam. So you need 3 things to see something. Now we ask you, What do you need to see yourself? Do you need a light? So you are already there, not as a Pancha Mahabhuta born Pancha Adi Gaut, Adi Bhutam. You are not an Adi Bhutam. You are not born of, because the five bhutas have nothing to do with the Atma. They have something to do with the Drishya created by the Maya Shakti, but nothing to do with the Atma. So you are not Adi Bhautikam. You don't need the sun to see yourself. You don't need the eyes to show yourself, because the eyes cannot see it anyway. The eyes are nothing but the offshoot of Maya Shakti. It's like a torchlight. You cannot see the battery which is in the flashlight. Flashlight can see something else. So you don't need any three of them. What do you need to see yourself? You need a proper introduction. Proper. Not self-generated, because that's not possible, but from an outside agency that tells you, oh my goodness, you know who you are, you don't need any upadhi. You are the one that uses the upadhi. You are the one that gets identified, but you yourself are independent. That's what you need. This is the meaning of neti neti iti adesha. Na iti na iti na iti. You are not the sukshma sharira. You are not the karana sharira. You are not the karya sharira. No, nothing sharira. Nothing. You are. This has to be. And at first it looks very, what? Because so far you have completely, this is kind of like my thought, and I repeat it every day. We have thrown the Atma under the bus. My own Swarupa. This is what Swami Dayananda used to say. He says, Ishvara is the most kind person in the world. Why? Because He is the one you created you, and you disown Him. You say, where is Ishvara? I don't think there's any Ishvara. What can you think of a worse insult to someone? But he says, it's okay. It's okay. He doesn't know. He doesn't know what he's talking about. It's all right. It's all right. Once he knows, he will do that. So this is the meaning of upadhi and abhimana. Okay? So that's the first topic. The second topic is, to me, was mind-blowing. You remember yesterday I had made a statement, if you recall, that I don't care what else you retain from these 2-3 days. There are two things that you should keep in your, not just in your mind, but your own, think about it. Remember that? I was thinking, I think Kumud gave me this idea. She says, you should give us more quizzes. So be ready for, I may give a test to just the people who were here. An exclusive group. And I will grade it to you. Let me see how much they retained what I said. I've been talking. I don't know how much you got because you did not have enough coffee or whatever. So there were two things I'd say. One was, you cannot disprove or have the experience that I am not there. Impossible. Even Ishvara cannot remove you. Cannot do that. And you are the only, and this is the only thing in your entire life, only thing in the whole cosmos which is like that. This is how unique it is, this fact. One that doesn't require any proof, no pramana, no proof, nothing, cannot disprove it. This is very important. If we just glom onto it and do nothing else, you'll make a lot of progress. Now I will tell you the other thing. To listen to it very carefully. This is just as important. And this one is the final door to an understanding of your Advaita nature. And of course, I wish I had more time, but given our limitation, I'll do the best I can. Okay? This is very important stuff. This is the second step. Which is what? Our understanding that I am a witness, I'm a sakshi, I'm a drik swarupa, is not that difficult to understand. I remember in a Bal Vihar group that Kumud used to run several years back, they were young kids, and she would invite me and my wife to preside at their annual graduation, these young kids, and then she will make them recite some of the basic principles of Drik Drishya and so on. And they could all I don't remember how old they were, 10 years old, 11 years old or something. They will all say, my nature is Drik, I am the seer. It's not that difficult to understand. The next step is the key. To listen to it very carefully. This is important stuff. The Drik is not just the Drik. It is much more than that. How do you say that? What do you say? So there are two words that describe the true nature of the Drik. One is the adhisthana of drishya. Adhisthana means where the buck stops, the very basis. Basis means nothing can be there without the basis. Like the ornaments cannot be there without the gold. So the old gold in that sense is the adhisthana. Okay? So the Drik has two other functions, you might say. Not real functions in the say of, but explanation of what is happening. One is the Drik is the adhisthana. The other one is the Drik is the prakashaka. Prakashaka. It is the one that makes the drishya light up. So the first adhisthana talks to the Sat Swarupa of the Sakshi. The Sat Swarupa of the Sakshi can be appreciated readily, somewhat more readily. Because you know that you are always the Sakshi. That is the Sat. So when we said you are the Sat Swarupa that we talked about yesterday, that is the Sakshi, which is the Sat Swarupa. So that one you know. But what it means is, you are the Adhisthana for everything that you are seeing. This is different and something amazing. Everything emanates from you and everything dissolves in you. They don't come out of anything else. And they don't go back to anything else except to you. Sorry. And I'll punctuate this with an example, which is also a very important example for you to see. But let me continue on. So this is the Sat Swarupa. So the Adhisthana is the Sat Swarupa. Okay? The other one is Prakashaka. You are the illuminator of what is. You are not just a Sakshi. This is such a beautiful explanation by Swami Akhandananda. He says, don't just look upon the Sakshi. Because we know what the Sakshi thing is just kind of like neutral, unconcerned, had nothing to do with it, as almost like as an instrument that I use to see things. I'm a Sakshi of this. Did you witness this? Yeah, I witnessed that. Are you going to be there? Yes, I'm going to be there. So it's very there in the background and so on. I know that, but so what? So a lot. Here's how. One is that it is the Sat Swarupa of everything which is Drishya, which it includes people, situations, in waking state, in dream state, no matter what. They cannot be there without you. Consider that. They cannot exist without your own Sakshi. So this is the Adhisthana. Now let's go to the Prakashaka. So what happens is this. Now let's go to the example, then I'll go back to it. Look at this example. Any kind of a show, a movie, kaleidoscope, any kind of a show of plurality. The movie is a very good example. Modern movie. Requires two things. Without these two things, you cannot have a show. It's impossible to have a show. One of them is the Adhisthana called the screen. Imagine a movie shown in the sky. There's actually actors and actresses and all these people moving in light and this, that or the other, good villains, heroes, heroines. But there's only in the sky. There's no Adhisthana. Not possible. The screen does an amazing job. It is the Adhisthana of the movie. And the Adhisthana is a very interesting Adhisthana. If there is it was interesting, my younger son lives in San Francisco. And so last Christmas time, We went to his home and he had this huge television in the living room. And on the screen was a fire burning in the fireplace. It was so real, it is just amazing. And I really enjoyed that. I was thinking maybe I should get one of those because we have completely done away with our fireplace, obviously, for the last 30 years. But it was so beautiful, so real. And he didn't have the sound on, but he could have the sound on, crackling wood and so on and so forth. A screen. Without the screen, you have no show whatsoever. Number one. Number two. You know what you need to have in a show? Light. Light. Without a light and without a screen, you cannot have a show. My dears, there is a show going on in our lives continuously. This, believe it or not, this is a show with happiness and unhappiness and good tragedies and comedies, suspense. So much is going on, it is just amazing. We need to understand who is the Adhisthana, where is the Adhisthana and where is the light. These two things are very important. But before I go forward, I thought I will crack the last joke of about these 2 days. Because these are all given by our Swamis and I love them when I see them. So this, and the class people have probably seen that, but let me just say that anyway. So there was a story where there was a script. And so the life script is given by Ishvara. This is what the script is. With our agreement, with our vasanas. In our previous lives, we said, I want to have this kind of a life. So Ishvara says, okay, are you sure? There's going to be some problems. No, this is the best I can. Okay, this is it. So this is the script. Anyway, in this movie, there was a script, and they were looking for players. So the script was that there was a very high-speed chase on the freeway between a robber and a policeman. And it was not just, high speed, but it had to be in traffic, weaving in and out. And it was in outskirts of LA, which was very, very crowded and so on. And so this was the script. And there was a helicopter on the top with the camera doing all this. So they were looking for players for this. So one of the players was somebody who could play the role of a chasing policeman. And he has to demonstrate how fast he can drive and how a good driver he is. So this guy said, I can do it. So they tested him and they said, okay, you got the job. So the movie starts and this robber starts to speed up. And this guy is also going 60, 70, 80, 90, 95. And oh, by the way, one other thing I forgot to tell you. The script says that at the end of this chase, the robber actually outruns and is not caught. He's not caught. And then he goes into something else and he creates a problem. But this section is an unsuccessful chase, but a real chase. So they explained all this to him. And he said, are you up for it? He said, sure, no problem. You've given me a lot of money. You are done. He gets into the chase. And the speed starts to go up to 80, 90, 85, 90 or so on and so forth. And he thinks to himself, isn't this going to end into an unsuccessful one anyway? Why do I have to risk my life? So at the speed of like 80 or 85, he stops chasing. And if there is a traffic, he doesn't go around and so on and so forth, he does that. So the people who are doing that says, what are you doing? So anyway, the whole thing is over and they come back. Says, what did you do? You spoiled the whole movie. He says, you told me that I was never going to be able to catch him. And so I didn't catch him. What's the big problem? He says the movie was all about the thrill of going in and out and so on and so forth. You are never going to get another part. From now on, we are going to just give you back grades and so on and so forth. So here, this is exactly the Arjuna's problem also. He says, why do I have to go through this war? Why do I have to go through this life? I can just, just relax, and the show has to go on. And while the show is going on, for Vedantins, you have to see who is the Adhisthana and who is the Prakashaka. So now let me tell you, the Adhisthana is relatively easy to understand. Not as easy as just Sakshi, but you can understand that I am the Adhisthana. But more to be said about that. This Prakashaka is an amazing insight. You are seeing the movie of life. Right? There is a show going on. Whether you see it that way or not, it's a fact. There's a show going on. For that show, there is a light necessary. Where is that light coming from? Is that from the bulbs? Where is that light? Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuti bhanti kutoma magni tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvam idam vibhati. You are the light. You are the light. You are not borrowing it from anyone. You're not borrowing it from anyone. It's not a quality that you have. It is not an abhimana that you have. This is your own swarupa. Chit swarupoham. Satyam jnanam anantam. Jnana swarupo. You are the light. You are the light and you are the screen. You are both the light and the screen. It's not different from you. This is an amazing thing. You're not borrowing it from anyone. You're not borrowing the screen from anyone. You're not borrowing the light from anyone. All you need to do is to just close your eyes and say, and you know what the light is? The light of knowledge. Knowledge Swarupa. This is where you say, I know. I know. Hey, do you know this? I know. Do you need this? Do you know this language? No, I don't know this language. How do you know that you don't know this language? I know. I know what I know. I know what I don't know. But I know. I know. When did you start the fact that I know? I don't know. How do you know that you don't know? I know. The I knowness is your Swarupa. Think that. This is not an ordinary thing. So the second thing which you should remember is not only am I Sat Swarupam, but that Sat Swarupam is the Adhisthana for everything. And I am also the Chit Swarupam, which is the light of lighting everything. And it is Anantam. It's not as though it's going to end one day. It's all my thoughts that I may end one day, which are wrong thoughts. I am the very nature of Anantam. This is the reason for Satyam Jnanam Anantam and Satchit Ananda. So the Ananda and Anantam are one and the same thing. Because the real Ananda is in limitlessness, not in limitedness. This is the truth that Vedanta teaches. And I have to really understand it, not even accept it. It's not a question of acceptance. You know, there are many students who say to Swamijis, Swamiji, whatever you say is good. Swamiji said, you know, this is exactly what Arjuna might say. Just, okay, I accept your word. Krishna says, you don't have to accept. You don't accept, don't accept. Question it and see it for yourself. This is the process that we have to go through. So what I'll do is maybe open up for questions for about 10-15 minutes, and then I will do a concluding meditation before concluding this class. So at this point, let me say a quick prayer and then we will start for questions. Om Asadoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Okay, time for any questions?
Let's hope this works now.
So is Drik and Turiya the same thing, or what's the subtle difference?
What is the word? First one?
Is Drik and Turiya?
Yes, yeah, pretty much. So they're pretty much the same. And so the Drik only means, if you just want to look at the meaning of Drik without it being an Adhisthana or Prakashakaha, it is incomplete. But if you look at completely, then it is Turiya.
Thank you, Vijay. I think I might have missed in reference to Adhisthana and Prakashaka. Satchidananda, does that incorporate in that?
So that is the Sat is the Satchidananda. So, as I was mentioning, that Sat is the Adhisthana and Chit is the Prakashaka. And both of them are Ananta. They are not, they're natural to you. It's not something that you borrowed, it's not going to go away. That is you. And so, yeah, Satchid Ananda. And it is Ananda in the sense that the Ananda we never really spent as much time as we probably could have. The analysis of joy. No, but it resolves to the same thing and together. So it is really the same.
Second question. So in reference to this, what is meditation? When we say we are meditating, what are we doing?
So you're meditating on the truth of what is being said. So as for example, we were talking about the fact that it is a river flowing by. Remember all the drishya are things that are good things and bad things, and don't flow with it. Be a kutasthaha on the side, sit on the. So that is the truth of drik. That is the truth of drik. But we become enamored with drishya because we're so used to seeing ourselves as a abhimani that we don't see ourselves as a drik. So the meditation, nididhyasanam, is to follow shravanam and mananam. So you have to see what is being said. But I often find that for us many times who do not completely yet understand the shravanam, even nididhyasanam is a shravanam. So you basically bring the thoughts that were given to you, but in a different setting, and bring it to your mind, and then you dwell on it. So this whole this nididhyasanam is extremely well explained in what is it? Huh? Aparokshanubhuti. Who said that? Which one? Who said that? Just
Panna.
Panna. Panna, you are. Aparokshanubhuti. And we did that in the Sailorsburg last year. And there is a section in Aparokshanubhuti that deals with meditation. If you have a chance to read that, it's, 15, 16, 20 verses. We did that in our classes also. And then we also featured that in the last year's Sailorsburg. So that's what meditation is. It's on specific things. How to do it, where to do it, what not to do, what is the wrong one. All that is discussed very well by Adi Shankara in Aparokshanubhuti.
Questions?
Namaste, Guruji. You told that we do not have any moment when we do not experience ourselves.
You don't have, sorry, say that again?
Any moment, any time where we don't have an experience that we are not there.
Correct.
So, I was just thinking, how do we understand Sushupti? That's the time our experience is not there.
Yeah, good question.
Definitely when we wake up, we know.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of...
Okay. So in Sushupti, we do have an experience. In Sushupti, we have an experience that there is nothing specific that I am seeing. And this is validated when you wake up. When you wake up, if you did not have any, supposing you were this is also one of the akshepa by people, that you disappear when you are sleeping. You are not constant. That's not true, because suppose you were not there and somebody, your spouse says, "Honey, how did you sleep last night?" I don't know what your spouse calls you, maybe not honey, maybe something else. My wife and I have a unique word that we use for each other, which I'm not going to tell you. but it's not honey. But we do wake up in the morning, and this is a normal thing. So how did you sleep? And she would say, pretty well. She could not answer it. If she was, in fact, this is so interesting. If she did not have continuity, we could not even converse. I will say hi, and she says, who are you? Do I know you? There is continuity. So at night time, there is an experience that I don't know anything specific, but I know. I know. So the experience is of nothingness, which is an experience. This is what. Zarina, you don't need any exercise after this.
Namaste. I'm paraphrasing something that I read, Swami Dayananda wrote, and I think it goes like, a sannyasi is one whose mind is resolved about life. So can you explain more what
Sure.
that means?
So here's how it is. There is a thing called nyasa and sannyasa. Sannyasa comes from samyak nyasa. Samyak means very well. It's superlative. Okay? So here's what happens. Nyasa, which is also called tyaga, in other words, some differences but not much, means resolving to view the world as something totally real that I have to fight with. I don't quite get it yet, but I'm resolving to the understanding given to me that it is not as serious as you think. You should just think about yourself. Most of the problems we have is that we don't have drik drishti, we have drishya drishti. So giving up the drishya drishti slowly and resolving that this is what I'm going to do is called nyasa. And nyasa, you can apply that to me. So in my case, nyasa means that I have made a resolution and it's working. That the world should not bother me. I am my own self. And if it bothers me, then it's just a temporary thing and there's no reality. This is called nyasa. So nyasi. Sannyasi is something superior to a nyasi because he or she has taken a vow that I am going to be a new person with no brothers and sisters. I have a new name, new lifestyle. But they are also trying to resolve the same information that you and I are. So, this is what is called Vividisha Sannyasi and Vidvat Sannyasi. So, Vividisha Sannyasi means Gyatum Ichha, Veditum Ichha. I also have a Veditum Ichha because I want to understand the fully the mithyatvam of the world, just like the sannyasi does. But the sannyasi has taken some drastic steps that I cannot take because I'm married, I have a wife, children, this, so on and so forth. Sannyasi is samyak nyasi, who is saying, I want to know and I'm willing to give up my responsibilities in order to actualize this knowledge. So that's what a sannyasi is.
So is it true that most sannyasis were married at one point before?
No, not all. Not all. Some of them go straight away from being single, like Swami Viditatmananda. So Swami Viditatmananda was never married. In fact, our lives quite diverged. We were very similar at one point because both of us met Swami Chinmanand first, 2 years with him. Then we kind of like switched over to Swami Dayanand because he was a teacher and he was one course ahead of me. I took the one in 1979 to 82. I think his was like 75 to 78 or something like that. And then at the end of the course, we all have an exit interview with Swamiji. Swamiji asks, so what do you want to do? Where are you going next? So Swami Viditatmananda said, I am free, I don't know what I want to do. So he says, I have an idea for you. Go to Ahmedabad and start being a sannyasi there. So he became there. Swamiji never gave me that option. So I never had that option. And so I became a householder and he became a sannyasi. So yeah, that's how it is. And there are others who give up. Swami Tattvavidananda is one of those, who was married, had a child, had a business, not a business, but a job, did a couple of PhDs, and then he became a sannyasi. So they're all different kinds. Yeah. Bala?
I'm sorry, this is a controversial question. Sannyasi is it required to realize the Ishvara Atma, whatever it is, or normal grihastha is enough?
Balaji, can I tell you something? 99% of the rishis were married and were householders. Not necessary. Not necessary. In fact, there are advantages of being a householder because the process of rubbing to polish yourself has a better chance when you are a grihastha. Okay. So all of these, like Janaka, of course, is given the normal example, but most of the rishis that we had were householders. Yeah. Raj, you have quota one more question. After that,
Thank you for taking this. So when I read that quote from Swami Dayananda, it said, whose mind is resolved. But I think when you explained, it sounded more like who's in the process of resolving the person's mind. Okay.
yeah. So what you will find is this is what we call. So if you read Swami Akhandananda's biography, he makes this point very clear. I already knew this, but it was a good confirmation. Most of the Swamis, their minds are not yet resolved. I would say, I don't know, some percentages or something. Real Mahatmas whose minds have been resolved are very few. It's all work in progress. But it happens. Just because it is difficult doesn't mean it is impossible. It is there. So shall we do a meditation? Or anybody has a last question? One last question if you have somebody else. Okay. Okay, two questions. Okay. Poonam?
Hello, Vijay. आपने advanced absolute directives में there is one section, nature of self, essence and will, which is Kutastha. Can you please explain the word Kutastha?
I couldn't quite get what you're saying. Say that more slowly.
So, Kutastha.
Kutastham? Okay.
What exactly this means and what is the connection of this with the self?
It is the self. Kutastha is the self. Kutastha is the self, it is the Adhisthana. take that example as part of the meditation, in fact. Okay? I'll do that. I'll incorporate that as part of that. So hold on for that. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Vairagya or Tyag also happens to be a very significant component in the spiritual growth.
It is.
Uh,
It is. But it is again the same question. You don't need to be a sannyasi. The main thing is mental sannyasa. Mental sannyasa. How you think, how you evaluate. And the outward sannyasa doesn't mean anything. And you can't tell anything anyway. And oftentimes it becomes an impediment. It really does. I can see where, where these sannyasis must have gone through, where people put them on a pedestal. They don't have enough time to study, to resolve. All these things can happen. Householders like me are very free. We can even fight I sometimes have a fight with my wife. And she must feel, what kind of a guy is this? He's supposed to be teaching Vedanta, and so I'm very happy she's not here. But we do. And isn't it interesting? Even I do get angry at sometimes. What happens is that sometimes if something unexpected happens, which I didn't expect, anger comes up. But Swami Dayanand had made a very beautiful observation, which I am beginning to realize. He says, what I find is that it's a true sadhaka, sannyasi, is like a child. How? Because what happens is, when a child and you have a fight, it gets resolved within 2 minutes. And then you ask the child, hey, remember you and I fought? He says, what? I don't understand what you're talking about. It's gone. I find that sometimes if I am temporarily angry at her, it gets resolved within 2 seconds. It doesn't have any wake. There is no vasanas in my mind. It's gone. It's gone. That situation demanded an anger, and I did it, and it's gone. She may not see that, but I do internally. I'm very happy about my own self, that I don't linger. Why did she make me do this? I should not have gotten this. These kinds of thoughts don't occur. Something got resolved, it's over with. Yeah. I think we are now out of questions, so we will do a short meditation and then we will close. Namaste Bhagavan Vishveshwaraya Mahadevaya Trambakaya Tripurantakaya Trikalagnikalaya Kalagnirudraya Neelakantaya Mrityunjayaya Sarveshwaraya Sadashivaya Sriman Mahadevaya Namaha. The Atma, meaning you, is like an anvil, kutastha, an anvil. Consider a golden ornament is formed. There are 4 things for a golden ornament creation. One is the goldsmith. The one who actuates the whole process, who does it. The second one is the material for the ornament, which is the gold in this example. The third is the intended form of the ornament. And the fourth is an anvil. Anvil has a property of being solid, unmoving. Adhisthana, basis. The experience of our life can be likened to the formation of an ornament. Here, the possibilities of what can be done the assemblage of all the factors is done by Ishvara. Ishvara is like the goldsmith. The gold is the upadana karanam, the material of the universe, which is one of the properties of Maya Shakti. There has to be a material for the 5 great elements, Pancha Mahabhuta, formation of Antakarana, etc., sense organs, etc. This is all equivalent to the gold, the material from which everything is carved out of. The third is the requested form. In Sanskrit, this is called Akriti Hetu. The Hetu for the Akriti. This is the vasanas of the individual based on previous lives and the previous stages of this life. All the stored ideas of this is what I want to do. And the fourth is Kutastaha, the unwill, which is the Atma. If you analyze this life, you find the role and the participation, the factors of these four elements in the formation of the life. Nothing is possible without the possibility of Ishvara's so-called creation. The Maya Shakti is not external to the Ishvara. It is the goldsmith that has the gold at his disposal. The Akriti Hetuhu are your desires, your sankalpa, specific to you. Atma's role is to act as the solid entity, the vastu, on which all these actions are taking place. This is you. At the very last, we can quickly see the meaning of Tattvamasi. As we saw in the class, there are only three possibilities for any truth to appear in our life. One is pratyaksha, one is paroksha, and the third one is aparoksha. The Atma, you, is neither pratyaksha nor paroksha. See this fact. You are not something, you are not somebody who is visible to you as a pratyaksha. You are not a drishya, and yet you are not paroksha. You are not away from you. It is not possible for you to be away from you. So you are the aparoksha. That's the only designation we can give. You are neither pratyaksha nor paroksha. But not understanding your aparokshatva Tvam. Your quality of being aparoksha, you make a necessary mistake. You become a mixture of all three. Pratyaksha, paroksha, aparoksha. When you say, I am this body, this becomes apparent. How can I be this? And where did this come from? It's paroksha. Where is it going? It is paroksha. I don't know. So in this analysis, you place Ishvara, which is the very basis of the whole creation, the very substance of the whole creation, as Brahman. Also in Paroksha. If you ask, someone asks you, do you know Brahman? It is very natural for you to say, I don't. I don't know where Brahman is. I've heard of him. You know Ishvara? I kind of think so, but I don't know where. Paroksha. So now we can see, let's be very specific, very scientific, very mathematical. What are the possibilities of Brahman or Ishvara? Very same thing with some very slight difference. Where can it be? Is it pratyaksha that you can recognize? No. Will you always have it as paroksha and lead the life with uncertainty? I don't want to, but I don't know what else to do. Can I tell you something? Ishvara, being limitless, aparichinnaha, cannot be paroksha. Okay? It can also not be pratyaksha. Yes. Do you know what is remaining? It is aparoksha. It is you. You are denying the truth that there can be only one aparoksha, one sat, one jnanam, anantam. That sat, that chit, that adhisthana, that prakashaka, which is your own sarupa, is you alone. So what you called as that, as tat, is actually tvam. And it is not something that can happen will happen, can become. You already are unrecognized, but with the right light of Shastra, you will see the truth of this. The Shastra blesses you that you will recognize your own reality, which is the reality of the entire cosmos. Think big, to grow up and do this before the fall of this body. Om Tat Sat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you, Vijayji, for a very enlightening 2-day retreat. I know I speak for all of us. Thank you. So may the light of knowledge in our lives progress from a flame to a fire with the study of Brahma. The fact that we are here today means that we are all mumukshus. But then how do we become a jnanasu? That is when a real guru steps in and through the teaching urges us to remove the wrong notion of our limitedness. Atma Krupa is the ultimate guru. It is the thought in our own mind that I am unlimited. Even though we may understand that my fundamental nature is Satchitananda, why do we struggle to realize that in our lives? Don't we all want to be alive, aware and happy at all times and under all circumstances? It's because we stop at understanding that my nature is Satchitananda, Anantam Brahma. We do not understand that our reality is none other than the reality of Brahma. That I am not a wave, but the ocean, indeed the very content, water. We can never disprove that I am here. Drik as the Sakshi is the Adhisthana of Drishya, like the gold in the ornaments on the screen of the movie. You as the Adhisthana are the screen. This is the Sat Swarupa of everything. And Druk is also the Prakashaka, the illuminator of all that is. You are that light. This is our Chit Swarupa. I, the Atma, is Ananta, the limitedness of all that there is. Everything emanates and resolves in me alone. We try to find fulfillment in our lives with Artha, Kama, Dharma, and realize that they can only give me some temporary and relative freedom. But we seek nothing but total freedom. Karmas can help us to remove the obstacles in our mind so that we can understand our reality. We are endowed with several upadhis in our life. It gives us a subjective reality of our life. Abhimana is our self-assessment and our identification with all the states in life. But both of those are temporary. Our reality is Turiya, which is not a separate fourth state, but the underlying truth of all the other three states, which are the upadhis and abhimanas. You indeed are the self-effulgent light of Atma, independent. I am. That is my Swarupa. One second. We must use our discretionary time wisely, especially in the Vanaprastha ashrama. Our daily dream experience is a very clever scheme in our life to give us the proof that we indeed are unlimited. We can analyze the dream state and realize that what looks real is totally unreal. It will disappear upon waking, just like the falsity of the snake upon the rope and the blueness of the space, which are both anirvachaniyam. unexplainable. All of our vasanas are nothing but thoughts that allow us to go from the waking to the dream state effortlessly. How do we understand this subtle truth? With Vrunupe, a total, unabashed commitment to the teaching. This is a tough call for most of us enmeshed in our lives. But let's make this study our primary duty. A duty to ourselves to see that the world is an imposition upon the truth. That indeed, the entire world exists in my thoughts only. In the Antakaranam, which has the Adhisthana in the Atma. I, the Atma, is the Adhisthana of everything. Yet, I undergo no change. So as we go about our day, let us have the refrain of the Shruti of the Tambura, of the Mahavakyas, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi. The understanding that constantly reminds us of our truth, the Aparoksha Vritti, that I am the whole, that I am never different from anything or anyone, that I am the one without a second. Thank you. If you would please, Vijay, can you come down? Thank you.
I'm very, very happy that we had this occasion, and something that we would like to see if you see this repeated sometime. I think I talked to some of you, but what I'd like to do is to have Raj send you a kind of like a survey where we assess how you felt about everything, whether it should be continue to be non-residential, 2 days, 1 day, where, how often should we do it, once a year, once every other year, etc., etc. And so based on that, we will make a decision on what the right formula is, what the setup is. So it will be wonderful to see. But I think for me also it was very good to articulate things that should be clear to me as well. And the fact of articulation them also helps in the whole process. So it is not just meant for you, it is also meant for me. So it was a very pleasant 2-day thing. I think I felt that I needed to have a little bit more time. And I think from that perspective, I was thinking that the idea that I had was to have, we're not going to have face-to-face classes. I think Srinivas was talking about it. Can we restart that in Milpitas? I don't think that's going to happen because of my age and all the other. You're also growing up. More realistically, I'm thinking 2 satsangs a year, 1 here and 1 in the ashram. And the one I would like to give an ad to the ashram because the 5 days allows enough time. 2 days is a little short. This is an enormous subject. So if it's possible, please sign up for the one in, and clear your calendar ahead of time. As I was mentioning to everybody, be serious about this. Don't let, that whole story about the parrot that I was talking with Dinesh. Be a parrot. Tell your family, I am leaving you for 1 week. Is that so bad? It's all in your own head. You're saying the family is going to miss me. They may not miss me, miss you, but you think that they miss you. So come to the ashram for 1 week. I think it's on May 21st of next year. There we will have to see, it's the same subject. It's not as though it could be, the text may be different. I think I'm thinking of summarizing the Bhagavad Gita. That's one of my ideas. And I talked to Swami Viditatmananda also, and he says, do it. So I'm thinking that we will just cover the important aspects of the Bhagavad Gita in that 1 week. And so that will be then, May. And then if you're okay with it, we can have one retreat here once a year. I think that's probably the right one. So with that, I'm very happy. Congratulations. And I'm very appreciative of the work that some of these people have done. I cannot believe it. So much work that was done. I mean, starting with Meera and Raj on bringing the stuff over, taking it back. Chawla arranging for all the food, Zarina doing all of this, Anandi doing a lot of coordination with, and so on and so forth. So much work, and I'm just forgetting all the names, but enormous amount of work that was done to make this happen. I'm very appreciative of that. I just show up here, nothing to do for me. So all that will be much appreciated. And so I look forward to hearing back from you to see what we should do and how we should go forward. So with that, Hari Om. So if you could kindly come, I'd like to give you a booklet as a Guru Dakshina. And also, in addition to the book, you can just, so here's what we will do. I'll give you a Guru Dakshina for, I'll give you this book and those fruits to you. And in addition to the book that we are going to give you, there were quite a few books that are in my garage. So come and pick up an extra book that you like, whatever it seems to you. Okay, so please come.